Today, I want to talk about the paradox of the competition mindset. Why, in order to win competitions, you have to trick yourself into thinking that you don't necessarily care about them. So, the more you want it, the harder it's going to be to get it. Of course, with any competition of skill, if you are significantly more advanced in skill than somebody else, it doesn't matter about the mindset, it doesn't matter about the preparation. 99.99 times out of 100, a black belt will beat up a white belt, and if there's that large of a skill difference, the mindset isn't going to matter. However, because people are generally grouped according to skill and weight class, there's a lot more contention that shows up on the day of the competition rather than who is simply better on an average of 100 days. It's who's better on the exact day of competition. So one of the things that I found that really helps me get into the right competition mindset is actually doing the work ahead of time and being as prepared as I possibly can. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you train 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, but what that does mean is you train as much as you realistically can for yourself without getting overtrained, without getting burnt out, and without getting injured. Now, this could be 7 days a week if you're able to make it 7 days a week. This could be 5 days a week. This could be 4 days a week. However much you are able to train given your life circumstances, if you do that and you put in the most amount of effort you can without getting burnt out, without overtraining, without overdoing it, you're going to have a peace of mind because you can rest on the fact that if you are beat by somebody on this day, and it's not because you made a huge mistake and it's not because you messed something up, if you're beat by somebody on that day, it genuinely is because they are better than you. And so that allows you to let go of the fact of, oh, what if I didn't prepare? What if, I could have trained more? And if you train as much as you can, you sort of can let it go. You can sort of be like, well, whatever happens, happens. And if they beat me, they will have had to have trained really, really hard because I know I trained really, really hard. So first, having that reassurance in your back pocket is always going to be really, really helpful. And on top of that, it helps get your skills as high as you can. But how do we beat someone whose skills are higher than us, even though we still trained as much as we possibly could? This is where mindset comes into play. So when you're on the actual competition floor, your mindset can either keep you where you are, can make you worse, or it can make you better. Now, most people actually start off getting worse because they are filled with some anxieties, some adrenalines. They really want to win, so they're not in that flow state. They don't have their heart rate at the optimal level, and they haven't done everything else they need to do to prepare to be ready to win that day. So most often when people go to competitions, they perform a little bit worse than what they're capable of because they're nervous. There's a huge skill that comes with being just not too nervous on the day of the competition. Everyone's going to have their own individual warm-up routine, but generally if you can get your sweat going, if you can stay focused on what you've been drilling, what you've been practicing, or if you can distract yourself and just, joke around and chill out, you'll be much better off than if you sit there watching other matches, letting your adrenaline get spiked up, if you sit there reminiscing about what could go wrong, this, that, and the other. I would highly recommend that you stay focused, stay in your own zone, and just straight up try not to make yourself worse. So if you're able to stay as relaxed as possible and just not make yourself worse, the environment itself of being in a competition is going to make your adrenaline go up no matter what. I mean, obviously if you just straight up don't care and it's like another day on the mats, honestly I'd say that's a really good mindset to be in because you're really not going to be hindered at all and you can perform to the best of your abilities. But usually you're still going to be a little bit nervous, and that's actually a good thing. Because if you're able to let go of your fear and worries by having already done all of the work and not make yourself worse by having a good warm-up and you have your sweat going and you've thought about your game plan and there's nothing else you could have done, you ate good food on the right day, you didn't cut a ton of weight so you're still feeling strong and healthy, you have a sweat going so you're not going on there cold. If you have all that, that little bit of nervousness that comes with competitions is actually going to boost you to a higher level. There have been a few times when I've competed and I felt like I had a really good mindset going into it, I would get off the mat and then I would go back and watch my performance, and I would do things that were better than my general, like, normal everyday jiu-jitsu rolling skill level. I would do techniques that I would go back down and like study and then do them on purpose, but I did them almost on accident. But really what I was doing is I was playing just beyond my ability to perform. This is something that people can notice both in themselves and in other people. When you are performing slightly above your normal skill level, that is the optimal zone of learning, of progression. And you can only do that in specific situations. You have to have the right mindset, you have to have the right conditioning, the stars have to align, and you can learn how to make them align. I would highly recommend reading the book, The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. He talks about the concept of performing above your level in specific instances, such as competitions, filming them, and then going back and watching how you are performing at a higher level, and then doing those moves on purpose. So if you do a really cool guard pass, for example, where you get around their legs by pummeling in a specific way, and you realize you did that during a competition because you were performing above your skill level, when you're able to go back and break it down, you can actually drill that and do it on purpose. When you're performing at a higher skill level and then you go back and understand why you performed at a higher skill level, you can integrate that into your game and actually do it on purpose. So when we want to perform higher than what we're capable of, we have to trick ourselves into not making it worse. Now, I say trick yourself because you sort of have to make yourself, in the moment, as much of yourself as you can, believe that it's not a big deal. Because let's say you have a whole 100% of your brain to think about things. If 50% of it is worried about what we did wrong and how we didn't prepare and what could go, like, you're already performing worse. Like, just throw that out. But if most of your brain is focused on just being calm and relaxed, and this is another day on the mat, a little portion of your brain is focused on making sure you have the right warm-up, and a small little piece of your brain is focused on, oh, this is crazy, this is like a big stage, this is competition, someone's going to try to, strangle me or grapple me or do whatever, that little edge right there is going to boost your adrenaline and allow you to perform at a higher level. But the majority of your brain is going to have to be focused on not thinking that it's a big deal. Because if you think that it's a big deal, then you're going to be more nervous, you're going to have those less optimal performances. But if you're able to make the majority of your brain think that this is just another day on the mats, that's something John Danaher says. He wants his athletes to just go out there and just do it like they always do in the training room. Because when you think that it's not a big deal, that's when you're able to, at the very least, make yourself not worse, which is actually a huge thing. There are so many competitors who will show up on the day and they either will have had like a small little injury that's making them worried, they'll have a lack of training that's making them worried, maybe they didn't do it, they'll look at the other competitors and project all their fears and insecurities on them and think, oh, he's so good. They'll get so lost in what the other people are doing and not just focusing on making their mindset to be relaxed and normal and thinking that this is another day on the mat and letting the little piece in the back of their brain let that adrenaline go up. They make themselves worse. So if you show up and you're always used to making yourself better because you have a good warm-up routine, you have psychologically conditioned yourself to be in grappling mindset right before you go on, and you could do that by listening to a specific series of songs right before you always grapple, and then you listen to those same songs right before you go on the competition mats. Same thing with a specific warm-up. You can do your normal warm-up that you do in class, and that'll do things that will condition your body to be ready to go out there and perform. So when you do that and you're performing a little bit better, and someone who is already better than you is performing a little bit worse, that's when you have those magic performances where you edge out somebody who should be better than you, but you actually end up winning. Bonus points if you go back then and watch film of that video and do the moves that you did beyond your skill level, break them down and do them on purpose. That's how you progress. That's how you get better, and that's how you trick yourself into having good performances, and that's the paradox of the competition mindset. So thanks for tuning in to this impromptu video in my car. If you made it to the end of the video, pick up a kombucha on your way home, fix your tummy, make it feel better, and go out there, get some wins in competitions. Peace.